Good afternoon, YouTube. Today I'm on my way to one of my favorite places around town. Business called Shaver in Time. And it's a pretty unique shop. It focuses on, as the name implies, shaving supplies or barber supplies in general. And also this particular shop also focuses on timepieces, watches, clocks, and so it's looks to me to be at the most a two-man operation. Older gentleman's been around there for a while. I think he's the principal of the operation, and maybe his son works with him. But at this shop, they work on and repair clippers, sharpen razors. They also sell brand new and used barber supplies. Again, everything from clippers to straight razors and just about anything in between. Also, they sell used watches and new watches, new clocks, repair old watches, sell old watches. So pretty unique business actually. And yeah, it's kind of a treasure for our little area. But I'm taking these Model 10 Osters that I found at a estate sale last week. Came with pretty much a almost complete barber kit from what I guess to be about 1959 actually, because the barber kit was also or part and parcel to this barber kit was an instructional manual or textbook for the course of barbering, and that book was published somewhere around 1959. So very vintage piece here. So if we did the math on that, if it was 1960, we're in 2024, so we're talking 60 plus 40, so about 60 years. This clipper is probably about 60 years old. Doesn't look like it was used much at all. Somebody probably went to barber college, and I've come across a number of estates like this where you find these kits in these homes where probably a gentleman maybe came back from the service, maybe graduated from high school, thought he'd take up the practice and trade of barbering, and somewhere along the line he pivoted and went in another direction, and the barber kit is still in the household. It's basically in pristine condition. The straight razor, the combs, the duster, the clips or pins for the hair cloth, the shears. Typically you'll find thinning shears and a regular barber shear. They're typically in like pristine condition, and it's quite a treat to find it that way. I can usually make use of a lot of the gear that's left in those kits, and I often wonder kind of what trajectory that person went on. You know, what did they do? How did they pivot? Why didn't they continue with barbering? I mean, it doesn't shock me or surprise me that they didn't. I think quite a few people do that. You know, maybe you've done it. But so for the guys like me that wind up sticking with it one way or another, in other words, I just like the idea of finding these kits in such great condition that I can sometime revive the gear and put it back into use. So today I'm on my way to Shaver in Time to see if I can get these brought back to life. When I plugged them up, got a real bad tone out of them. They're not, the clipper isn't driving the blades at all, just kind of making a muttered hum sound. and I turned them off right away. Vintage electronics can be dangerous. You know, there are parts that wear out, like capacitors or resistors and things that control the amount of electricity that should be going to the unit. So it's a good idea if you pick up something vintage to get it checked out by a guy like this, and make sure it's safe to put back into service. But so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Got about a couple of minutes before I touch down to the shop, but I'll take a break for now. So Shaving Time is situated right here at Grand River and Inkster Road. I'm honestly not precisely certain as to which city this is, whether it's Redford or Detroit. But yeah. So let me see if I can get my bearings right. This would be essentially the northwest corner of the junction of Grand River and Inkster. So it's actually on Grand River. Yeah, northeast corner. Yeah, correction, northeast corner. And on the westbound side of Grand River. So let's see if these guys can help me out with this repair job. Oh, actually, got a watch here that I got for my wife at that same estate sale. I believe it's the same estate sale. Maybe it was another one. But just gonna get a battery put in it. Probably spend too much money and time at this place. I definitely wouldn't say it's like an inexpensive thing to do to rehabilitate vintage gear, but kind of hard to see the stuff go to waste or die in the landfill.
Milo, I'm here at the warehouse getting your Movado. You want a lizard? Okay. You would prefer gator? Okay, well, I'm glad that I called. He would prefer gator. He would prefer gator.
So, I'm leaving Shaving Time, and you remember I were taking my Oster Model 10, vintage Oster Model 10s to be repaired. And I guess I learned a lesson today in that, you know, when the repair technician plugged the pair of clippers up, he said they were smoking, and I kind of knew that they were not in, you know, that they were in pretty bad shape. Short story shorter, his repair estimation on those clippers was $150. So, you know, it was his recommendation, and obviously, and I should say, in my concurrence, that the clippers did not warrant that amount of investment. I mean, if they were my grandfather's clippers or something, you know, that personally connected me to those clippers, maybe I would have gone through that ordeal, or, you know, gone through that expense of having them repaired. But yeah, so, you know, this is a a vintage Barber blender and a vintage Barber mission gone not so great. I did pretty well on the other gear that was in that Barber kit that included the Oster clipper, and let's just say for instance if the clipper had to work with no problem, which I actually found a pair same model. I'm not sure if it was a precise same vintage, but I do have a pair at the barber shop that I use. Those also I found at an estate sale, and I've had no issues with those for the most part. But so yeah, what I wound up doing, cut to the chase a little bit more, is the repair technician proposed that that he would buy that pair of clipper for parts, and for the grand sum of $5, I sold that clipper to him for parts. I mean, yeah, not something that I would take on myself as a repair project at this point, so I didn't mind doing that if it helps someone else get their unit together with the parts. And it's better, again, to me than for them to go to the landmine. But obviously I would keep this in mind when it comes to purchasing any other clippers like that from an estate sale or used, not knowing the extent to which they operate or don't operate. So yeah, a day in the life of vintage barbering. Thanks for joining me.